everyone, so I'm really excited about today's video. I've seen quite a few videos lately of products that don't get any hype on YouTube, but they really should because they're really wonderful. And I think I'm going to do one like that. I also want to do a video that is products that actually get a lot of hype, but I think it's worth it. And, excuse me, today's video is kind of the exact opposite of that video. And it is products that get so much hype here on YouTube, but they're just okay. I don't think that they're worth all the hype that they get. Now, a couple of these, I only have one color of, so it might just be I have a bad color. And some of these are just okay products, but for all the hype they get, they're really not that great. Now, if you want to see some other videos I love, other things I love, then check out those other videos and I'll let you know what I think is worth the hype and things that should have hype but don't. Anyway, let's get on to this video. First is this one. This is Covergirl Outlast Stay Fabulous 3-in-1 Foundation. Now, a lot of people talk about this. I do have drier skin, so that might be the issue, and the reason why this doesn't really work for me, but it doesn't. Now, I have dry skin, but not to where I have horrible, gross, like, patches all over my face all the time, especially when it's warmer like it is today, even though it was a little bit cold this morning, but, I mean, when it's warmer, I don't even really have any dry patches, and I have to say I'm very normal. And this just doesn't work. It applies so patchy, and I can't get it to just like meld into my skin. It sits on top of my skin and it's patchy and it's just gross. I think this might have been mentioned. I've done a YouTube made me buy it video, and I'll link that below because I think I might have mentioned it in that. I've also done a couple of products I regret buying. I don't know if any of these products are in there, but in case you're interested in those, I'll link that below too. So this is just, it just doesn't work for me. So I don't recommend it. And I know that I'm in the minority here. For most of these, I'm in the minority. Next is something that everyone talks about. And as you can see, I've actually gotten quite a bit of use out of it. And the reason for that is because I put it in my 15 and 15 because I wasn't using it. And I've had it for a while. I needed to get through it, be able to chunk it, throw it out of my collection, and never have to see it again. But it's the Rimmel Stay Matte Powder. I have the shade 005 Silky Beige. Now, this is a really soft powder, and it feels like silk in between your fingers. And it seems like it's really, really nice. However, for me, on my skin, it just sits there. It gives me a powdery layer. It doesn't kind of meld in and just look nice and give me that extra bit of coverage and staying powder. It just sits there, and it's like, oh, you have powder on your face. Isn't that lovely? No, it's not lovely. It doesn't look good at all. So I don't like the way this works for my skin, and I don't recommend it. This is another thing. I've done a whole review of this whole palette. I've actually done, it's not a review, but it's my Holy Grail powder, and I talk about that in that one, so I'll link that below as well. Just like, you know, because different days, you might say something a little bit differently, and it might just make more sense to you, because sometimes I feel like I just give you all this information, and y'all are like, what are you saying? That doesn't make any sense. So, anyway, I've also done a whole review of this. This is the Too Faced Bronze and Beautiful. I'll link that review down below. Now, it's not this whole palette. I don't even think this palette is available anymore, but it's a very, very hyped item. And that is this guy right here. This is the Chocolate Soleil bronzer that everyone and their mother is in love with. I don't even think it smells that good. Everyone talks about how it smells like chocolate and how it's beautiful and wonderful. I don't think it smells that good. And it looks, there it is. It looks straight up orange. It gives my face a very muddy, gross look. I think for the price, there are things that are comparable that are so awesome and so worth the hype. And there are even things that are a little bit cheap that I think are better than this. So, Chocolate Soleil bronzer does not work for me. That whole palette could really be in there. But I think I might have mentioned that in products I regret buying. I don't know. Like I said, those videos will be down below. Next, let's get on to eye makeup, because eye makeup is some of my very favorite. I love to do eyeshadow and stuff. And I want to mention this guy. This is, I think this was my first ever product review I did on this guy, or it was one of my first. I'll link that video down below. That was like a year and a half ago, so there's no telling what I said and how much of a hot mess I seemed to like. But, you know, things never change. But this is the Wet n Wild 8-pan palette in the shade Petal Pusher. These shades aren't as pigmented as people, at least this one. These shades aren't super pigmented. They don't blend well, and they just get a muddy mess on your face. They look so powdery. So this is the purple side. On your fingers, you're like, Becky, what are you talking about? Those look nice. A little powdery, but nice. The darker shades swatch pretty well. There are two shades right here. There you go. If I go that close, you can see them. But you can see how powdery and gross they are anyway. They also, I don't know, they have like a weird glitter in it. And I'm not opposed to shimmery shadows, but it doesn't work for me. Now this shade, this eyelid shade, it's right here. I was so excited for, because I like to have a shade that I use to just blend out all of my shadows, and I wanted that to be it, and it's just not. It's too warm, and it's actually showing up a lot more pigmented in that swatch than it usually does. But they're nice, but they're not great. And I mean, I know that for 8 shadows you get it's $5 for 8 shadows, but if they're not great quality, you're still wasting your money. You can get some, can you not? Hippo. Ah, he just bit me. I love him. He's obsessed with bras. There you go, that's my bra. I'm not wearing it, obviously. But he thinks bras are just the most fun thing, so. And I think I've told y'all Kanga eats panties, so my dogs just love lingerie. But yeah, I mean, I know it's inexpensive, but when it's not great, what's the point of using it? I find so many things that, some of them are more expensive, obviously, but some are really inexpensive in drugstore prices that I like so much better. And I know that the drugstore is great, and like everyone loves being able to spend a little bit, you know, to get more bang for your buck. But in my personal opinion, if you don't love it, if it's not wonderful, then you're still wasting your money. Like, I would rather spend $20 on a foundation and be in love with it than spend $5 on a foundation and just kind of hate it. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. Alright, I've got some eyeliners for y'all, and I forgot to grab one of them. I wasn't very prepared. Y'all know me. Sometimes I'm really prepared, sometimes, more often than not, I'm not. I have 3 different types of eyeliners for y'all. And one is, this gets so much hype. I think some of the hype's died down, but when I started watching YouTube really, like kind of addictively, these were all the rage. And they are the Rimmel ScandalEyes eyeliners. Now, these are okay. They're nothing terrible. That's just one swipe. You can see it's not even that black and pigmented, so you definitely have to go over it. I found that they skip on my upper lash line. And as far as my waterline, I don't find that they stay that well. I know everyone else says that they stay perfectly on them. I don't know if I have a weird waterline or not. They stay okay, but they're definitely not my longest lasting. I have some from the drugstore that I like better, and some that are high-end that I like a lot better. And again, if it's so much better, it's worth paying more, in my opinion. These are okay. I mean, they're built up, and they do look nice, but they don't stay, and I just don't love them. And I get transfer really bad down in, like, my inner corner, and then, like, I don't know how, sometimes I get eyeliner, like, on my cheekbones. How does that happen? Kanga was just putting him in his place. He's fine. He's fine. That happens. Life of having a puppy. But yeah, it's just, they're not great. I mean, they're okay. A lot of these are okay, but for all the hype they get, I expected them to be marvelous, and they're not. Same with this. I've heard this specific thing hyped up so much. I got this in my Ipsy bag, and it is the Urban Decay 24/7 Velvet Glide On Eye Pencil in the shade Black Velvet. Hold on, I gotta do some building up, because it's also not super, super black. There it is. Doesn't stay on my waterline very well. Not at all. And it's just, it's okay. But for for $20, this needs to stay on for 8 days in a row. And it doesn't. And it doesn't apply super well to my top lash line either. And it's just, it's okay. But it's nothing that makes me say, wow, I would spend $20 on you. And last but not least is this guy. I love the color, and it's the only shade I have like this. It's the Makeup Forever Aqua Eyes. This is the shade 12L. I got this in a kit, actually, and they do still sell the kit. It's on clearance right now for $30. I'll link it down below because I highly recommend it. There it is. It's a beautiful color. This blue is so pretty. Unfortunately, it doesn't show up quite so vibrant in your waterline, but it also doesn't stay in your waterline. Now, I've heard people say that this makeup, the Aqua line that, I will say Urban Decay, that Makeup Forever puts out is for, like, people that, do, like, synchronized swimming and, like, all the water makeup. Well, if that's true, then they're really looking like a hot mess, because that does not work for me at all. And I mean, it makes it sound like I have a really tricky waterline, But I find a lot of other things that work for me, so I don't know. Next, this guy got a lot of hype. It got a lot of reviews. Some positive, some negative. I never gave y'all my opinion, so I'm going to in this video. And it is the Benefit They're Real Push-Up Liner. As with most people, or most brands, the They're Real mascara is really hype, so they're going to give you another thing that's called They're Real. Hype it, you know, follow the hype. That's like why Urban Decay has like 75 naked things, because everyone loves naked. And not being naked, maybe being naked. I was talking about the brand, but you know what I'm saying. So it's got this weird rubber nib, and it comes out with this black gel. I hate the application of it. I mean, like you twist it, but you'll twist it and then you'll stop, but then more keeps on coming out. It's like it's growing. And it is really nice and black and pigmented, but it's chunky, and like clumps will fall out throughout the day. But then whatever manages to stay on, girl, you're going to spend 3.5 hours taking it off of your eyelids. Also, it skips, and then you're like, oh, let me get over it. Let me get that little area. And you can't, because you're picking up product while you're putting it down. It's just a mess, and I don't love it. And, I mean, it's a nice black liner, but you can get the exact same effect, in my opinion, with a lot of other things, even pencil liners. And they're a lot easier to use. Alright, next I'm going to go on to 3 mascaras that I really don't love, and a lot of people do. This is another They're Real product. It's the Benefit They're Real. Now, I've done a whole review of this and a Rimmel mascara. I did them on each eye, and I really showed you how they looked, and I gave you my thoughts. So I'll link that below in case you want to see like an application and stuff. But it's not great, and I know this is going to sound dumb, and I've heard a lot of people say this, but I know what you're saying. Like, it's got the rubberized silicone bristles. I do love that they have the bristles on the top, because it's so easy to get in your inner corner and on your outer lash line. I love that part. But I don't know what is up with this specific wand, but it pokes me in the eye, and it's not like, oh, I got a little mascara in my eye. I do that all the time. No, it's like, oh, I just took Hippo's new little puppy claws and shoved them in my eyes. It hurts so badly, and this is the only mascara I've ever had that issue with. So, I don't know. It also, like the They're Real liner, excuse me, just like the They're Real liner, it takes so long to get off. And, I mean, instead of, like, using makeup remover, you might as well just shave off your eyelashes, because you're going to do the same thing pretty much anyway. I just don't love it. And, I mean, for all the hype it gets, I feel like I should. That's another $20 mascara. I would not pay $20 for it. I have a lot of high-end mascaras that I do like, but for the price, honey, you can go to the drugstore and get almost the exact same thing. At least for everyone that I've tried. Now I have these two, and I kind of have the same issue with both of them. This is Maybelline The Rocket. This is Covergirl Lash Blast Volume. Now, The Rocket, when I first started, it had just come out, and everyone and their mother and sister and brother and dog were talking about it. Now, these both have silicone wands. As you can see, they're very similar. Now, let me tell you my issue with it, with both of them. I hate these wands. Not because they're silicone, but do you see how, especially, this one's the Rocket and this one is the Covergirl. Especially with the Rocket, you see how it tapers off and you get no bristles? It's kind of like the exact opposite of the They're Real wand where you get all the bristles around it. It is so hard to get all of your lashes, and I find myself whacking and getting like black mascara all up here. Like I did a black brow bone highlight for today, just, you know, to be interesting. It is not a good look. Also, they're both really liquidy mascaras, and they're okay, but for how hard it is to apply, I don't like it. And I don't know if it's just me. I have a good number of lashes, and I never find mascaras that are really volumizing. I get a lot of length, but not a lot of volume, and both of those give me length and no volume. Alright, now I've got 2 lip products and 2 nail polishes. This is a long video. Y'all know I like to talk. I like to give y'all every information I can. This is something that's really hyped up, and I know it's because of Kim Kardashian. And this is the Smashbox Pout Legendary Lip Gloss. The Pout is the shade. Now Kim Kardashian apparently wore this. I got this in a set. They give me some lip set. I'll link that below. The packaging's real nice, and it's got one of these flat felt applicators. I like that. It doesn't really have that much of a smell. Maybe a little bit of a sweet smell. Do you see this color? This is white. And it's not super opaque, so it's kind of got that like weird glassy where you put it on your lips and you get every single line that you have in your lips will be shown. And on top of that, it's kind of sticky, and it's just not a good color. I don't think it'd be a good color for anyone, and I just don't really like it. Now, I'm going to try to put it on my, I've never tried this. I'm going to try to put it in my middle. I don't really do that, but let's see. I might look like a hot mess. So, you know how you will do this? Rather like have really voluptuous lips. You know, you could maybe use it for that, but for how expensive this is, I want to be able to use it all over my lips. And I can't, because this is just a weird color. And the formula is not that great either. And it kind of tastes plasticky. Just being honest, guys, y'all know I'm going to tell you everything I think. This is another one, and I don't know, this is weird, because it had a lot of hype, and then a lot of people were like, ooh, Revlon lip butters, they're terrible. And now, so I don't know if people like it or not, because you got both. But this is in the shade Tutti Frutti. I've heard a lot about this specific shade. It's the only Revlon lip butter I have. So, and this Smashbox is the only Smashbox legendary lip gloss I have. So it could just be I got weird colors. There it is. I got a bright orange. You know, I really love statement lips, statement eyes. I love statement face. Let's be honest. Now, it's orange. It's patchy, but I'm not really speaking English. I'm getting a little too excited. I really like the lip balmy feels. I love tinted lip balms. I think they're great, especially for the summer, because they just feel so nice and give you like a little bit of color, and it's just wonderful. This is patchy. Now, and a lot of them aren't patchy. Like, I adore, I don't know what these are called, these little L'Oreal guys, and this gold packaging colorish caress, or who the heck knows, one of those thingies. I love those. They're not patchy. The Sonia Kashuk one, that's what I'm actually wearing below 17 other things today. Not patchy. This guy is patchy. It's also really thick. It's a really thick consistency to where I feel like I have on 6 inches of lipstick. And it's not great. I don't love it. The color is nice. I mean, I'm not opposed to wearing bright orange, but everything else about it is not great. I don't really recommend it. And again, that could just be that color. If I would have gotten a different color, I might have loved it. But I've heard people rave about this specific color, and I'm like, wow. Alright, now I have 2 nail polishes. And these are both really highly hyped. And it might just be that I got bad colors. Because these are the only, I only have one color of each of these. This is an awful color. And I don't love the formula. I don't love anything about this. This is the Sephora Formula X in the shade Invincible. Y'all know, I tell y'all every time I'm gonna drop something. And it's kind of the same shade as this Pout gloss, where it's like a white with a little bit of pink. First of all, these minis have the worst applicator. Oh, you know what I just remembered? I do have another Formula X. I have this shade highlighter. And the full size doesn't, I mean, the applicator works a lot better on the full size. So I think it's the mini. And it's got this teeny tiny little brush that's really hard to work with. But this color is just plain ugly. It's a peachy, light pink, white. It doesn't show up well. It's so streaky, and then you put on like 18 coats, and then it chips in 3 seconds because you have way too many coats on. Does not work well. I do not like the shade Invincible. And this is the only, yeah, I'm telling you the truth now. This is the only Zoya nail polish that I have. This is the shade Dot. It also came from an Ipsy bag. And I had to put on 7 coats, no, literally 3.5, like to 4 coats to give this light pinky shade. Now I know that pastels are hard to do, but let me tell you, I have other pastels in this exact same shade, this light pink, that work beautifully. And this does not, and so not a fan. Alright, I think that's everything that are really hyped. If you really like this video, I can look through my collection and find some more stuff. Let me know if you have something that you're like, that you got really excited about because all the hype, and then you tried it out and you're like, really? This is what everyone's talking about? That's not that great. Let me know, because I don't want to fall into the hype. I know we all do it. And that's just how YouTube is. You know, you come from waves of things and everyone's talking about the same thing, and then you get it and you're like, oh. And then by the time you finally get something, nobody's talking about it anymore. Just, you know, the nature of the beast. So, thank you so much for watching. I know this was kind of a negative video, but as I've said in all of my products I regret buying, and just a lot of videos, I feel like it's just as important to tell you all the things that I think are kind of crap, as it is to tell you things that I think are wonderful. Because, you know, if you would have bought all of that full size without a deal, because you know I'm always getting deals, you'd have spent... Can we not? come here. Sometimes Kanga gets a little mad at Hippo. Sometimes it happens. You know, he's new to the family, but he doesn't care. He loves Kanga. But y'all would have spent probably close to $200, and I don't want y'all spending that money on stuff that I don't think is great. So, I just want to give y'all my opinion. I hope y'all appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. It means the world to me, and talking, and just everything. If you have any questions about anything I mentioned, anything on my face, any of that, it's all going to be listed down below. So, thank you so much for watching. Bye.